How to Start a Cannabis Farm podcast. My name is Jared, and I will be your host. Start it off. The idea, the cultivation, path, and product. So, again, you're here because you want to start a cannabis farm. One of the first things to think about is what type of cultivation path you intend on partaking on, specifically indoor, mixed use, outdoor, greenhouse. All of these different cultivation methods, they require different inputs. They require different property. They require different upkeep. A lot of that can greatly affect your bottom line. A lot of that can also be governed by your budget. So it's just something to think about. The next thing is your product. Are you going to be selling top shelf branded flower? Do you have a brand that's actually going to be able to push that? Is your product actually capable of competing on that top shelf? Is your price point capable of competing? Are you going to be competing in top shelf extract? Those two categories are huge. They essentially are governed by social media. And then everything else, middle shelf flower, middle shelf extracts. Essentially, to give you a better, perspective of all this, if your product is not good enough to be top shelf branded flower or turned into top shelf extract, then that's where all that middle shelf comes in. Some people choose to actually grow that, and that's their actual, market. But most people tend to gravitate towards that because their product's just simply not good enough. Another thing is, you growing commercial grade flower, as in something specifically for extracts that are going to be done on the cheap, like CBD. Are you going to be growing for pre-rolls? And that's a whole nother subject. And to be honest, I rewrote this a few months ago, and now that I'm reading about it and going back, growing for pre-rolls actually needs to be moved maybe a little closer to the top shelf, middle shelf, simply because, as we're finding out now, there are different types of terpenes, monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes. Monoterpenes are terpenes that are very volatile, and the things that you smell. So when you crack that bag open and you crack the jar open and it hits you in that face, those are a lot of monoterpenes. And they tend to go away quite quickly when subject to heat. So smoking a joint, for instance, if you actually think about the combustion from the very tip of the joint all the way back and that hot smoke going all the way back, that heat is actually destroying all those monoterpenes all the way back. And so sometimes you get a shitty joint. And it's like, well, who cares if the flower, if the name is on point? If the fucking pre-roll sucks, then it fucking sucks. Simple as that. Now, with sesquiterpenes, those are the terpenes that joint smokers really love. That's the stuff that you can taste it the whole way through. That's that shit that just makes my mouth water. But anyways, as far as the idea, figure out how you intend on cultivating your product and essentially what all of that requires and what all of that guarantees. But that's just the idea. So how to start a cannabis farm with an idea in 12 steps is really how this all breaks down. So with that being said, here's step one.